Good everyone here. Welcome to the Pie Show. My name is Boniface Omozoapo. I'll be your guest today. We are so privileged and honored to have someone I call, I don't want to use the word octopus, but what will I say? It's so difficult to describe someone like you. You, you're mother of Africa, governor specialist, and great woman of God. And you're an entrepreneur by excellence. You're a professional, and you're a mother. You're a mentor to so many leaders across Africa. And we are proud to say you are a mentor to the LSGL. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I think that should be because that is really so. I just want to say we're privileged to have our guest today. She's going to introduce herself to all of you. Those of you that are watching live and is from here in the UK, we understand the weather is hot today, but you know what is going to be good. So I want to encourage every one of you to stay connected. Just get something cool to drink while we continue the show, the Pie Show. You know, at the Pie Show, we bring leaders and entrepreneurs that are solving problem. They solving problem. They have viable ideas and they're creating an enterprise across the world. And I'll tell you, there's no better person to discuss with us today on the Pie Show. So, Dr. Lucy, it's an honor to have you. I know when I use the word Dr. Lucy, it's straight away because I always use the word mama. Those of you that are London people, you understand. But because you are a professional student, so Dr. Lucy, can you introduce yourself to the audience today?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here in the studio with Dr. Omozoapo. My name is Dr. Lucy Suho Newman. I am a global citizen, proudly African with no apologies, a Nigerian by extraction. I'm from the northeastern side of Nigeria. I'm a Christian, Christianity as a lifestyle, as a value system, and also as a relationship with the Father. I'm a mother of four people, three are men, one is a lady, 18 years, and the men are 37, 30, and 23 years old. I am married to a very wonderful person. His name is Dr. Rotimi Gabriel Ndokodano. He's my husband, my friend, and I call him my personal pastor.
Yeah.
My personal pastor. In terms of career, what do I say? I think that was why Dr. Mozapo was trying to use the word octopus. I have I've transitioned from financial management, dealing in the financial services sector, and also managing people in HR, and then into performance improvement practice. Right now, I am one of the leaders of the International Society for Performance Improvement. I have served on their boards, and I'm also a certified performance technician. I've been certified since 2008.
Wow, that's a
Um,
lot.
yes, a long time. In fact, I'm going to feature in. They have the legacy conversations with leaders of the institute, and I was listed as one of the leaders under the legacy series of the interviews. I will be having that next month to talk to new people in the field globally. So for the African voice, my voice features a lot because I have published in the field. I've also mentored
Okay.
people, and I've also introduced some of my clients. And then I was a consultant with the PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I was in the business advisory, performance improvement. And then I went to the FITC, where I was CEO for 10 years. After that, I said I wanted to do something. I wanted my career with my ministry to align,
Okay.
whereby it's no longer a job of working, it's impact.
Impact.
And that was when I took 2 years career break
Wow.
to think, focus, and reflect. During that time, I went to France. That was when I got the inspiration to write the book, African Leaders Tete a Tete. I just felt African leaders need to talk to themselves.
Yeah.
I have traveled around the world. I've been to more than half of Africa. I've been to about three or four continents multiple times. And I see the order and I see the alignment and I come to Africa and I see what is happening. I say, why can't Africa be?
This
Yeah.
is important.
So I wanted to. So Africa has. We didn't have a plan as a continent. So I was very familiar with the Chinese 1 century plan. And I was so happy about it. Then when Africa came out with Agenda 26, I was so excited. I was like, finally.
Wow, wow.
So that made me to write my
Different.
book. And now I'm so excited to be at Africa Private Sector Summit. I joined APSS as a result of the book. The book brought me into the audience of the founder of APSS, and I was invited to APSS. I served as the CEO, and then when I finished, I sorted out my succession plan. I've got a CEO and a COO, and I wanted to just go and rest on the board and be quiet. And then the board said I should come and chair the board.
Wow.
So that's the role I now play, and I hold that role very, very sacred because I work with very distinguished sons and daughters of Africa. Many of them are much older than me.
Wow.
And I happen to be the chairperson. And we also have 6 deputy chairs by Africa's 5+1 region. And I'm very happy to say that as I'm sitting in the studio with you in the UK, that we have a space on the APS's board that is distinctly diaspora African.
Lovely.
So we have the deputy chair for all the regions, North, East, West, South, and Central Africa. Then we have one for the diaspora region.
Wow. That's a lot of responsibility, doctor. So how are you coping with all this responsibility?
So interestingly, we have technology.
Oh, that is true.
We have technology.
Yeah.
Many of my messages I do voice notes.
Okay.
I send voice notes, text, the catalog, and I do a lot of research with my AI assistant, which I have customized to myself based on my values. Then you can actually define how your assistant should be and the kind of research you want. So I've defined that I wanted futuristic things, I want authentic things, I want godly things, my own personal values. So whenever my AI assistant and I brainstorm, I use my AI assistant to brainstorm. Like if I have a session, I'll ask my AI assistant, what questions should I ask? What questions should I answer? From there, I will not do that. So that helps me. And then we also have a good structure. At APSS, we have 3 levels of governance. We have the advisory board, which is the highest policy level. We have the executive board, and then we have the EXCO, which is the executive committee. So I chair both the executive and the advisory board. And in the EXCO, and we have volunteers that work with us. And the leaders take their responsibility.
Wow, serious.
Seriously. And we have a founder that is very, 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 very intense and passionate about Africa.
That's good.
So it's okay. It's fine. And because in addition to that, I also serve on other boards. I'm a consultant, international consultant. So I do some projects that are my own projects because my role is non-executive. And I serve on other boards. For instance, I'm on the board of International Energy Services Company, a Pan-African energy company. And it's also the founder is we just turned 35 last year.
Wow, that's interesting.
The founder is around and is alive, but he's in the succession mode as well. So I serve on the board as independent non-executive and also as the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee.
I'm sure that many companies that may end up watching this video and say, we want Dr. Hussein in, and are you open to joining other boards in the UK and other African countries?
So, as a board member, as independent non-executive, when you reach a threshold like 4, 5 companies, it becomes too much. So, and also as a non-executive board member, you must be interested in the business of the organization. It must be a sector that you're passionate about, that aligns with your values.
Yes, true.
And that you have time to support. And yes, I'm open to that, but I'm very selective.
I can tell that. I can tell that. But also, this question I want to ask you, there are many people watching us for the very first time, and they're hearing the word APSS, and so they want to find out, okay, I know they're going to ask me, what is the vision and mission of APSS?
So what is APSS first of all?
Yeah, that is it.
Yes, so APSS stands for African Private Sector Summit. Most people ask me, okay, so do you have summits once in a while? That's why you do this.
Yeah.
You see why summit and African leaders
Yeah, it will come and talk, yeah.
So APSS is a private, non-profit,
Okay.
non-partisan, pan-African organization. In line with that, we're advocating for the voice of the African private sector. The African private sector has a lot of challenges. First of all, we deal with so many things that tend to hinder the growth of the sector, the sustainability of organizations within the sector, and also the contribution of that sector. So the APSS is advocating for conditions within Africa that make it possible for businesses to thrive.
Right, okay.
Because the mortality rate of most businesses in Africa is too high. Businesses in Africa suffer from multiple regulations, multiple taxation, exchange rate problems, movement of people, logistics, business hubs, access to information that is required for them to go and run their business, engagement when regulation is coming out, discussions are not. So as a result of that, the incubation period for most businesses can be very slow. Yeah. And those who seem to survive, many may not last 5 years. Meanwhile, in some other jurisdiction, a small mom and pop business can grow for the next 3 generations.
And the return on investment may be extremely bad.
Exactly. So, and then also the facility, infrastructure. So these are some of the things. So what APSS stands for is that we have done evidence-based research that's come out with, there are protocols that have been signed up already by African Union. The regional economic communities, there are protocols that have been signed up. We also have the African Continental Free Trade Area. That is a fantastic idea that just started 2021. That makes Africa the largest trade bloc in the whole world.
Wow.
So APSS is advocating for conditions that make it easy for us to achieve these objectives. Oh. And we've come up with 25 basic rights. Those rights are not out of the blues. They came from the protocols and principles that have already been approved. We just prioritize what is expedient to run with. Okay. And we have numbered them to be 24.
Okay, yeah. This is interesting listening to you. As someone in the middle of this and seeing the potential in Africa, what are the major obstacles, barriers keeping Africa from attaining this economic potential?
Okay. One of them is also another sister organization to APSS. That organization is called African Education Trust Fund.
Okay.
The education that Africa has in most countries is not applicable and sustainable for the fourth industrial revolution.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Most of the educational background we have is memorization and reproduction. It's not problem solving, it's not analytics, it's not evidence based. So the AETF also exists, and incidentally, the founder of APSS also has an impact. That's the role of a diaspora African. He has a role in the AETF, which was birthed by the Pan African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and also the APSS, Pan African Chamber of Commerce, because it has all the businesses that can see that when you hire some of our graduates, they don't have the work skills. And some of the businesses have to give work skills under a management training program to get people ready for.
That's good. That's good.
So the AETF has come out with that and seen that many businesses, the skill set we have, they are not usually practicable. And for us, some of the schools now have internships, such that the students will have some internship. By the time they graduate, they would have had some culturalization.
That needs to be part of the curriculum.
Exactly. So, like what we have abroad, we have some schools that, you have schools whereby students, while they're in school, they can have some hours of work. Yeah. And they are studying. That gives them to understand the protocols and the norms of working
Yes.
and the discipline. And they're applying some of the things because they do the internship in the areas of their study.
Yeah.
And then also they can start to see how earning can be made because they earn some stipends per hour. But most of our programs, so ATF exists for that. And we're going to deal with that a lot. And that is part of what is going to also help because the education is the supply for the human resources. And we want them to compete in a new global environment where technology is very important, artificial intelligence, e-commerce. So that is the issue. What was your question again?
Wow. You've done that because that's in and dealing with the barriers to.
Yes.
But I think how can Africa activate its economic potential?
Yeah, so now the education is one big major arm because without the structured education, the right way, problem solving, self-learning, you cannot innovate, you cannot identify problems. The problems will see you in the face and you can't solve it. So that education is one. The other one is logistics. It's so expensive to travel by air in Africa.
That's so true.
Flight per hour flight, the cost in Africa, if you compare it globally, is one of the highest. Also, connection of flights. If you want to travel from Lagos to, except now that we have South Africa, you can go to South Africa, but if you want to travel, sometimes you can go from West Africa to East Africa to make a connection flight to go downwards.
Wow.
If I want to travel from Lagos to Botswana, I will have to take either South African Airlines, go down south and come back up to Botswana.
That's not good for you.
Or I would have to, exactly, or I'll have to go by Ethiopian Airways, go eastward and then come down. Or I'll go by Rwanda and come down and go this way. Between Lagos and Rwanda is supposed to be 5 hours, right? Max. And by the time you add the cost of that,
it makes doing business expensive.
Very expensive. Then the other one that we are trying to work on now, which some countries are coming by with, is the visa.
Okay.
Ideally, under the African Continental Free Trade Area, free movement of people is important. There should be no requirement for visa for Africans if you are staying less than 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
And anybody who is going for any serious business,
2 weeks is enough. Yeah, 2 weeks is good enough.
And then if you're going to stay for more than 2 weeks, then you go through the formal process. But if you're staying for less than 2 weeks, you should be able to board your flight and go and come back. And most people who have serious businesses, you don't need more than 2 weeks.
2 weeks again.
Even if you're going to buy products, maximum 1 month you're back. So that visa issue is very important. Then the other one is connection by train for heavy duty goods. Now we only have the truck. The train network is not effective and it's not even existing in some places. But I know that East Africa and the SADC region, they are investing on that regional connection of the rail lines.
Okay.
Because of heavy duty industrial products, you need the rail networks.
It's important. That's what led to development in Europe.
Exactly.
It is logistics. Yes. The ability to connect.
So logistics now for Africa is the rail network, the heavy duty goods transportation, the road network, and another one is the security. Security is a big major concern. The road network, the transportation network, the education, and the power, energy. There is no continent that has as much sunlight as Africa. We have wind, we have hydro. Africa is a continent with 3.5 sides oceanic. So with the economy, we are not maximizing. 3.5 sides of the continent is oceanic. Do you know how much resources? If you ask the Caribbeans, they know the resources. Yes. We are not using that. Look at solar, summer almost all year round.
Yes,
so these are the situations that tend to hinder us. And then the other side is the leadership side, which is the big one. Because patriotism, Pan-Africanism, pride in whom we are as people and our respective jurisdictions. So that when you sit at the table to negotiate,
Yeah.
you negotiate from a sense of self-awareness.
Place of strength. Yeah.
Then you can walk away with the good deals. But if you're not self-aware, you don't appreciate the position.
Wow.
Then you go with a cup in hand, and whatever is given you, you walk away feeling they have been generous to you.
I want to ask this question.
There was a time we had Nkrumah, we had Rawlings,
Yeah.
we had all
That's all the things I'm just thinking.
Yes, in their time they were not that cowardly.
Wow. You think there's a solution for Africa?
Of course.
So what should government be doing across Africa?
Government across Africa, first of all, how did the government come in? And is it a popular government that the people want? And then how do we select our leaders?
Okay.
And are our leaders world aware?
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Do they understand how the world
Okay.
works? And how do they see themselves in the world system?
Mm-hmm.
So, in our education again, some continents in this world, by the time a child is 10 years, that child is a leader, even if that child is not yet.
Yeah.
What is leadership? Influence, decision making, choices.
They're trained to think.
You're trained to think, you're trained to look at options to make a decision and choose. You are trained how to communicate, respect other people so that they can influence. But in our educational system in Africa, we tend to make people learn technical skills and they grow and grow and grow in hierarchy. And then at a certain level, we say you're going to be in charge of people. And they have no clue about how to manage other people.
Yeah.
They can't even manage themselves. So if you can't manage yourself, how can you manage other people? And that kills innovation. Because if you're a boss and you work with people and you don't treat them as human beings and you don't see potentials in them and you don't see yourself as responsible to make them even see themselves better than they know themselves, then that way they can bring out their best self. But if you're insecure as a leader, you will shut down every creativity.
Yeah, that's true.
And you will consider every contribution as an
As a
affront.
threat to your existence, to your leadership.
Yes. So if I had superpowers, we will go back to leadership 101 and make sure that every country, by the time a child is 10, the child knows the history of the country, the child knows the history of their people and their cultures, the child knows decision making, choices, financial literacy, and all those, they call them life skills. That child should learn those skills before he even starts to learn ABC.
Wow.
So that when you give the child ABC, the child can use the ABC that you've given the child.
So build system, build solutions.
Yes. Because that child already sees him or herself as a contributor. So whatever information you give that child is going to process it and bring out something.
This is so good. This is so good. And that is why I want to talk about the AfTAG and the African Continental Free Trade Area. And that talked about the present enormous opportunity. You also talked about that during the conference. And so what needs to happen for Africa to benefit from this? What do you think is a viable vehicle or is just another shop?
I think the best thing that's happened to Africa is ASFTA.
Are you serious?
Yes, we had, many people don't. The Agenda 2063 is our 50-year continental strategy that is broken into 10 years.
Okay.
We have done the first 10 years. We are now in the second 10 years. AFCFTA is an initiative in the first 10 years.
Okay.
It's an outcome of a need that was addressed in the first 10-year block.
And is it working at the moment?
Yes, because right now, I was somewhere and I was saying, when we saw AGOA go, and we now saw the trade wars and the tariffs, if we did not have AFCFTA, Africa was done for.
Wow.
With AGOA gone, with the tariff wars, what would we have?
Yes.
But now the reverse is the case. Because with Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we have created the largest trade bloc in the world since World Trade Organization.
But with the uncertainty in policy across Africa, how is this helping Africa?
So now, the AFCFTA, it was a concept, continental framework, but each member of the AU has to assent to it,
Okay.
to accept, and to sign to it,
Yeah.
and to sign the General Trade Agreement, the GTI,
Yeah.
to say we are going to be trading under this law. In AFCFTA, there are principles and protocols of tariffs, of standards,
Okay.
of everything that is required, and there are the trade corridors that have been created to connect the sub-regions. So countries were expected to say, yes, we agree, we want to be in this network. And in that period, the Continental Secretary had to go around all the countries, lobby, advocate with the governments to ascend. And now I think out of 54, 55, depending on how you count it, countries, 50 have ascended, and about 21 are already trading in that space. So every country that started trading, the first container that leaves was always celebrated as whoa. So what it happens now is that for a trader that is having a product in one African country, under the FCFTA agreement with the protocols and the registrations and the certifications of your product, your market is the rest of the other countries that have signed up and are trading.
Good.
Very good.
That's
And
good.
in line with that also, Afrexim Bank, we have two organizations in Africa that have really been doing amazing work, African Development Bank and Afrexim Bank. I don't know if we didn't have these two multilateral organizations, how Africa would be
lost.
So Afrexim Bank has the Africa Trade Gateway, which is a marketplace that lists services, products that are required. And if you can meet those needs, there's a business to business matching that happens. And then there's the PAPS, which is the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. That means you don't need a third currency to trade with somebody across the continent. Right. You trade in your price, you quote, that person buys and you receive your money in your bank at that price, but your customer is in another country.
This is lovely, and this is good. This is good. It's good to my ears, and I believe every people listening to us, especially those of you in the UK, like, okay, the aspirant community, we've got to hear more of this, and I hope, and that is so important. And thank you for sharing that. And I know there's a lot you would love to say about because I noticed there was this light, your face just lighting up at one dimension when you have after, and so it's that shows that it's really working. And I want to ask this question because soon we're going to be asking you about your book because I've gone through your book and I want you to talk to us about Africans talking to one another. Because one of the interests we have at LSGEL is we are open to an entire universe, the world, but we are especially interested in the African continent because that is the future. And it's only wise for a business institution to look into the future. And so we're taking serious look at African business climate. I'm like, we've got to play our role there. So I want to ask you this question sincerely. What is the role of APSS in all this going on in Africa? What role will you be playing, or what are you playing?
Okay. I think we will ask them. So
After now, because I'm going to come after the I want to get this then because I want to after now I want to there's a connection I'm coming into.
So APSS, we are advocating, just like I said, the African Continental Free Trade Area, the agreement signed by the countries. Yeah. So we're advocating for the AU to take these 24 rights and say yes, they work. But before we go there, we are now trying to campaign to have 22 presidents.
Because I'm enjoying flowing with my question with you. Let me leave those questions there.
The 22 presidents, for you to go to the A, you need at least 1/3.
Yeah.
So 22 presidents that will say, yes, the private sector bill of rights
Okay.
is needed. And the private sector bill of rights, we did the research and we came out with the 24 rights, and we have had the privilege of testing those 24 rights.
Okay.
We've tested it at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair
Okay.
in Cairo in 2023.
Okay.
We have also tested it at Fikota, which is the Cotton Factory and Textiles Conference in Cameroon. That was in 2024. We also tested the instrument in Botswana when they had their National Business Conference.
Yeah, what was the outcome?
The survey.
Yeah.
We have above in the AFC, in the INT, we had about 80% yes for most of we asked them to grade
Okay.
the 24 rights. We have not had any less than 75%.
That's great.
So
That's
far.
good.
We
That's
have
good.
tested it in 4 locations.
Well, that's good.
We also tried to test it at Biashara Africa in Lomé. Biashara Africa, Biashara means market. That means African market. And it is hosted by the AFCFTA Secretariat. This year they had about 2,000. Yes, Biashara. We need to start promoting our African. This is Swahili word for
Africanism
market.
is good.
So at Biashara Africa also we try to test that. So what we're trying to do now is to say, okay, how many presidents we see this instrument and say, if you are able to discuss with your business community in your country and take it to your parliament and they take it that this is the negotiation for the basic right to make businesses thrive. And many of our African countries do not understand that to make our MSMEs thrive is all the money you need to create for your government rather than borrowing. Because when your businesses are thriving, they pay taxes. And tax is revenue. And they are your people, and you give them the services. China and Indonesia do not play with their SMEs. So rather than travel abroad looking for investments and all that, if you create conducive environment for SMEs, they will thrive. And guess what? The diaspora you are trying to pursue, they'll come and be equity investors in the SMEs.
That's true. That's true.
And then you start having all these multi-million-dollar companies growing up and popping all over the place. So that is what we are hoping for. And if we get 22 presidents and say yes, then we'll go with the Africa Business Council. The Africa Business Council is the AU agency that is representative of the private sector. We are already partners with the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce, which is all the chambers in Africa. They are partners of FITs, APSS.
That's a great one.
Then we also have a collaboration with AAA SME. AAA SME is All Africa Association of Small and Medium Enterprises. They are partners of APSS. So we're already picking friends along the way, and they've been partners with us for quite a number of time. And we're just building momentum in the area.
Wow. That's good. And that takes me to the second phase of this interview. Your trip traveling and across France, and suddenly you realize African needs transformation. And going through your book, and you've done well, and I see you doing that. You leave that purpose and vision. Can you talk to us about your book? I'm sure there are many people that would need to go and get that book. They're leaders, because what we do at the LSGEL is to raise leaders, professionals, and entrepreneurs. I think that is one book we need to start recommending to all our students to go through, especially those of them from the African continent. We're going to see how we can work with your problems, see how the student can get that, and see, because it's a blueprint. It's a blueprint, actually. It's a blueprint.
It's my gift to Africa.
Yes, it's a blueprint. And so, can you talk to us about why you were driven to write that book and what we should be looking at for how we can truly put the knowledge in that book into?
Okay. Thank you. And two people have said something about the book, and I do not take that for granted. One of them is Major Prabha. He's from Kuala Lumpur. Was one of my.
I wish I had a copy of the book.
He was one of my facilitators. And when I went to the financial in Malaysia, he was one of the facilitators, and I invited him for the book launch, and he had a copy of the book. And he said the book, even though it's written for Africa, that is applicable universally, the principles.
That's true.
And then I also have I'm a fellow of the Kaufman Center in Chicago and the CEO of the Kaufman Center, um, Dr. Mariano Benendez. He actually, both of them, their review comments is on the Amazon page.
Wow.
And Dr. Mariano gave his endorsement and he said all places around the world that operate in complex environments, that the book is applicable, that it's not just Africa. So for that statement, I wanted to start with that to say that I liked the Chinese 1 century plan and I was looking forward to Africa having a plan. And when Africa got the Agenda 2063, and I knew we had the AFCFTA, the book is actually inspired
Wow.
by Agenda 2063 and AFCFTA. That was the inspiration. And I also had been a consultant, and I know that implementation has always been a problem. People struggle to implement ideas. And I've been a consultant and I've used SWOT. And SWOT is like a cliff edge. You always end what next. So I developed the concept SWOT Plus, which I have copyrighted, by the way, that adds SWOT to give you up to budget.
Wow.
And budgeting cycles, by year, by budget. So you don't just do SWOT and it ends on a cliff edge. Then I had also something that was inside that executives and CEOs used to tell me, can I see my organization on one page? From vision, mission to everything, everything about my organization on one page. For me, as a chief executive or as a board member, somebody who's interested in strategy, don't give me 300 pages to talk about my organization.
I'm sure for the organization.
So I developed the ED4SP. That's entity design for sustainable performance.
Wow.
So those two concepts are in the book. Then to make it practicable, I now made it applicable to individual, to organization, and to country.
I hope everyone listening, you see the reason why you need to get a copy of that book is so needed.
So I made it applicable to an individual leader, a leader that this is me, I want to contribute, and then applicable to organization, whether you are in a government organization or a company, this is my organization. How do we participate in this Agenda 2063 or the AFCFT and add value within our space? Then I also had the third section, which is for countries. If you are maybe a minister or a head of state and you want your country to do well, how do you pitch in? So what I now did again, in addition to that, is that I took each of these segments and I gave a pseudo case, and then I provided space for you to do your journaling. So it's like a manual. It's not really like a book. It's a book that you read, you see an example, and then you draw your own concept in the process. So why did I just wanted to make those concepts simple. Sometimes some of these concepts are developed by technocrats and diplomats. And for us as individuals, one of the things that, like what they used to say in America, can you break it down to a 12th grader to understand?
Understanding,
12th grade simplicity. So I brought it down, those big complex things, I brought it down. And also because I do strategy and I do all those things. During tea breaks, in the session, leaders they will not be vulnerable. Everybody knows it all. But within tea breaks, one-on-one, non-confrontational conversation, they will say, do you know how is this going to
That's true. That's very true.
So I know that leaders have their vulnerability. Yeah. So I wrote the book as a discussion with me. And that if like you are on a flight of 6 hours, you finish reading it, you feel as if you start with me on the flight. And inside I had my email. So if you have questions, you can call back. That's the tete-a-tete. Tete-a-tete is a French word, head-to-head conversation. So I saw all that and I felt Africa has so much. There's so much to be done. I can't reach everybody. I wanted to be part of Agenda 2063, but I wasn't going to be there, and I was so frustrated, and I just felt led in my spirit to write the book. So by the time I wrote the book, I didn't want it to be self-published. I wanted it to be published by a publisher because I wanted what was going in to be valid, universal, and accredited. So I chose a publisher in the US, Pixedia House. When they took it through the pleasure test, my publisher was so excited. I said, what happened? They said, the threshold for original thinking is 97% content.
And that is extremely, extremely good.
Very. And the book scored 98, 1% higher than the universal 97%. And then 2% inside was adequately referenced as existing knowledge. So the book is now registered in the Library of Congress.
Wow.
And then,
Congratulations.
thank you. And then 3 years later, God said, go write the French version.
Yeah, it's a different version.
Yes. So I also felt there was this issue with France and Africa. And Francophone Africa was discovering themselves, building new systems, and they were playing catch up with the rest of Africa. So I wanted to give them something to use. And I also found out that 40% of Africans at home and diaspora speak French. And I also know that French-speaking countries are confused. They don't know how to relate with Africa during this phase.
Wow.
So the book is also good for them to read and to see how to engage Africa.
I think it's time to also write the Arabic.
My friend, one of my friends, she's in Turkey. She said they wanted the French version. The moment she saw the English version, she said, "Where's the French version?" I said, "I won't based on demand." She said, "There's a demand. Me, I'm talking to you. I'm demanding." So she's asking me for Arabic. I've not yet decided to do Arabic. But the French version was published last November.
Okay, and this is all like, that's why I was checking this. I was, don't mind me, I didn't ask the doctor to bring one while she was coming because then for this conference that would have been lovely.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. So you can, I don't know if you can see this. You can just see it clearly. Nice.
There's a QR code. I'll send it to you. That
Okay,
you can
fine.
see both copies.
Okay, so you can go to Amazon
Yeah,
Books and
yeah.
order the book, the African Leaders TED,
Yes.
TED, and you get it. So, and there's something beautiful about this book. You see, can you explain the logo, why you have the logo this way?
Yes, I actually have a video that I described it. So can we stretch this one out? Yes,
Yeah.
you can stretch it and turn it like this so that, yes. You see, if I'm not a tech savvy person, I
Yeah.
won't be able to do this.
Yeah.
So actually,
Yeah,
come up with.
this is the, so this is it. Yeah, so you can see the copy of the book.
If I wasn't
Yeah,
tech savvy, I won't be able to
you won't
do
be able
this.
to do this slide. So
Okay, so with this now, why was the book? The cover is gray and white.
okay.
Is a transition of colors from gray to white to black. Many people think Africans are all black. That's not true. We're not all black. We have all shades of beings, and we're all Africans. From the extreme Caucasian to the darkest. Yeah. We're all Africans. So I wanted that gray shade to show that is a shade of colors in Africa. And then the dark part of it is that people call Africa the black dark continent. Okay. So many things are not very clear. And for somebody who is a foreigner trying to look into Africa, it's like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to bring that aspect in. Then the words African leaders stated is in blood red color. Blood red signifying that Africa has suffered from wars, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. These are realities of our history. Africa past, some of it is still going on. Then the images here, as I said, the book is in 3 portions. Individual leader, organizational leader, and a national leader. And this is based on the, Africa will talk a lot, too much stories, we don't get things done. So I use the Newton theory of motion. These pendulums are from Newton's theory of motion. And then this pendulum reflects the topic and it knocks on the tree. This pendulum is the author and reflecting the subject and knocking on the 3 levels. So that's what, and the last portion of the book is called the momentum, which is about movement. Wow, let's get things doing. Let's get things done rather than talk.
And really, you're right, because even one of the law of Newton law of motion is that everything remain at rest until an external force acts on it.
So now the external force is
eating Africa to get and start working. And so that is awesome. I want to really thank you, Dr. Lucy, for taking your time. We know you're busy. You are the section during the conference, and now you are spending this moment. You should be resting, and want to thank you for what you do for Africa, Want to thank you for what you do for the global community. Want to thank you for what you do for the LSGL. We are so honored to have you as a mentor to the school and to myself as a person. And want to say thank you, can never be so. No word can be enough to say how grateful we are to you. Okay.
So thank you so much myself. I am very honored to be here. My husband and I, Dr. We have actually been so inspired by the work that is happening at the LSGL, and we wish you well. We're honored to be part of this journey in whatever form we can support. You can always call upon us, and we admire what you and your dear wife are doing and investing in people. And we would also want to ask that as many people as want to invest in, as we spoke about the educational issues, the old educational ways are not going to work for us in the fourth industrial revolution.
That's true. That's true.
And Africa's position is very important in the world. And we have to change the way we educate ourselves. And we like the way it's practitioner led and it is founder led. And the first thing for people, what is your purpose? What is your vision?
Yeah.
And what is your contribution to humanity?
That's fine.
If we start from there, everything else falls in place. And we're so excited at the way you're doing. And thank you for making the networking opportunities at the school.
Yeah.
From here, I've met some people, and the networking is awesome.
And that is the goal of the LSGA conference we are putting together. This is the first one we're doing in your way. The goal is to, it's derived from your book. You may not know how your book is. It's about getting African talking.
Yes, talking. Let's talk to ourselves.
And get African talking, get African connecting. Because when we connect as people, we connect as nations, and we'll be shocked that there's so much resources within the border of Africa. And that is actually the vision of the LSGA conference. We would have just done the awards tomorrow. But for us, we're like, no, there's something we want to give birth to. We don't just want to do an award. We want to create. So now that we have done this, we intend to do it independently. That is why what we announced today called the African Business Roundtable. So that the African Business Roundtable will take place across the world, in France, in New York, and the LSJ African Business Roundtable. Well, we want to bring people like you come. So that is what this conference gave birth to. If not, the graduation would have just been a day for the graduation. That's why tomorrow is the day. But we wanted to give birth to something that has been burning in my spirit for a while. Africans, we are strong individually. Yes, we need to. And when people come, you'll be shocked how two people meeting can do multi-billion deals. APSS came out of an engagement with a few diasporas. The founder went there and they met at a conference. That's why they met with the co-founders. They said they need to do something. And it was a networking. Yeah. So that's what one. That's what this game. When I say so, we needed to get people to come together, not just meet. Because if tomorrow you people are meeting the award, there will be no time to connect. Yes. That is why we deliberately invited the awardees to come. That's your essence, and to get them to know themselves before then, and then they become part of a family. And that is what we intend to be doing. And so we're happy we achieved that. Well, because most people don't understand what we're doing today's conference and tomorrow graduation. But there are some things you keep under wraps. You're like, okay, let it happen. Yeah, you need to know why we're doing this. It's not because we want to spend money. It would have just done it a single day and let it go. But we have realized that when people come during graduation, everybody is busy, distracted. But because the next time we're going to do is going to be more of networking, just people, just 10 minutes, and create that network, bring presidents together, bring experts like yourself together, and then we take the LSG African Business and Roundtable, and then let this be sealed. Amen. And that is the goal. Thank you. So can you meet that? I'm going to paste this picture somewhere here.